Charlie Dorr, pilot of the Airways, and I hope we're going to be piloting our way over to Peter Bromley there at Epsom for the 203rd Derby. Golden Fleece, very strong in the ring, a lot of support for him. Peacetime on the second line of betting.
Number 15, Silver Hawk, Tony Murray, drawn 4. Number 17, Super Sunrise, Eddie Hyde, drawn 6. 18 is Tidworth Tattoo, Brian Rouse, drawn 13. Number 19, Touching Wood, Cole Cook, drawn 8. And finally, number 20, Wong Choi, ridden by the Australian jockey Dave Brosnan, and drawn 18. That then is the scene as the runners prepare to go into the starting stall. In the various trials, I mean, Jalmood, he won the Lingfield trial like a really good horse, showing a good acceleration. Peacetime has won both his races, the Guardian trial won by Shergar last year, and of course the Predominant Stakes, but he has been coughing in between, and that can't be really in his favor.
No, Peter. There's an old saying, I remember when I came into racing, they said, a race of this caliber is not won, it's very seldom won. It's right more often than not to oppose a horse that goes into it on an interrupted preparation. And indeed, Peacetime just had that problem for a fortnight after he'd won the Guardian Classic trial. Fascinating aspect of the race is that at the not 11th hour, but put it another way, 10th hour, we've suddenly got a live challenger from France, which was something that we hadn't bargained for until Stavros Niarchos, who has suddenly, in the last few years, emerged as one of Europe's big spenders and has over 100 horses in training in France and Ireland and indeed in this country with 3 different trainers. He decided that he wanted to have a crack at our Derby, which he said is the only Derby, as opposed to the French Derby, and he's running Persepolis. Lester Piggott had bargained on riding Persepolis in the Prix du Jockey Club, the French Derby at Chantilly on Sunday, and his hopes were dashed, and they were when Mr. Niarchos decided to come here, because at that juncture Leicester was going to be on Simply Great. And of course, by the time Simply Great was hors de combat, Mr. Niarchos had already signed up Sir Martin to ride, and in my opinion, I take my hat off to him for sticking to Yves Sir Martin. He's a world-class jockey, he's won the Derby before. He may lack Leicester's know-how around Epsom, who doesn't? But I do think that at times in this life, loyalty counts for quite a lot.
Well, he certainly remained loyal to Yves Saint Martin, though I'm sure Lester Piggott had hoped to eventually get the ride on Persepolis. That was the one he clearly wanted to ride, and why not? After all, he won twice on the colt in France in the important Prix Lupin, and had looked pretty good there after overcoming difficulties. But the French form doesn't really appear to quite to measure up to the English form this year, does it?
Yes, Peter, I think the 2 question marks about Persepolis are this. As you say, well, quite what is the French form? Leicester himself went on record after he'd won the Prix Lupin, saying they can't be much out here if this horse overcomes all the trouble he's just got into and still wins. And in the meantime, we've had the French form slightly exposed in the Prix de la Force, when Robert Armstrong's colt, Be My Native, who had been runner-up to Peacetime at Sandown and then third to Simply Great at York, he went out to France and waltzed away from a number of French classic contenders in the Prix de la Force. The other thing about Persepolis in a fast-run race, is whether or not he'll quite last a mile and a half. Now, they're down at the start, they're circling round, and what better time than now to update with the betting?
Well, it's still 11-4 Golden Fleece. Then they go 4-1 Jalmood, the same price, 4-1 Persepolis. The 11-2 Peacetime. It's 14-1 Silver Hawk. 20-1 Rocamadour and Super Sunrise. 25-1 Palace Gold. 28-1 Father Rooney. 33-1 Count Parlin and Norwich. And it's 40-1 Brothers.
Well, the runners are still walking round on this, what has now become a very humid day. It's very overcast now. The sun has, in fact, gone in. There are huge cumulus clouds building up. I think we're in for another crack of thunder very shortly, but let's hope that it lasts anyway till after 2:35. Michael, we've talked about the principles in this race, and it does seem pretty clear-cut that it's going to be between those 4 horses. Do you think we made a mistake and left something out, an unconsidered outsider, for instance?
I don't personally, Peter, and a lot of our confrères and people like Lester Piggott who know them in and out don't. But one horse I must just mention, as I thought that he looked outstanding, so much better than when he ran in the 2,000 guineas, was Silver Hawk. He was cool, calm, absolute perfection of deportment down in the paddock, very relaxed, very muscled, looking extremely well. And I remember seeing him in the paddock before the 2000 and in the parade. We remarked how restless he was, how on edge he was, and I thought, my goodness, that doesn't augur well for the rigours of Epsom, where the atmosphere, the noise, the bands and everything could easily unsettle a horse. Tony Murray said to me after the 2,000 guineas that for all that at Newmarket, Silver Hawk ran a thoroughly genuine race, and he felt that if he'd been drawn on the far side with the fast-running fancied horses in the guineas, he would have finished third in front of Rocamadour, who finished fourth, another of today's runners. In that case, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Silver Hawk run a hell of a good race today. Another horse, quickly Peter, another horse who I thought looked really well was Super Sunrise. Better, I thought, than Father Rooney, who was terribly on edge and restive. He's in a lather down there at the start. We can just see him through our binoculars. Super Sunrise, Gavin Hunter told me yesterday after he just won the National Stakes at Sandown that he would be shattered if he didn't finish in the first 6 and disappointed if he didn't finish in the first 4.
Well, that's stable confidence for you, and that is a horse that Lester Piggott could have ridden had he really particularly wanted to. And meanwhile, as we've been talking, the loading up process has continued. Anxious moments these for the connections of the fancied horses to see if their charges will go into the stalls. Palace Gold is out the back. I understand that the favourite Golden Fleece has had special permission to be loaded last but one. Palace Gold is actually out there last, and he is now going in at this moment, Golden Fleece. So Palace Gold will be the last to be loaded, but Golden Fleece is going in last but one. Super Sunrise is in. Golden Fleece is, I think, in. Palace Gold goes in. Any second now there'll be understarters orders for the Derby. The 1982 Derby is off, and away they go to a very, very level break indeed. And over on the far side, Wong Choi is one of the leaders with Count Palin, and also up there in the leaders, Reef Glade. And they are the 3 leaders at this stage, with up there Florida Sun coming on to take up the running. Lobkowitz is also well placed. Count Palin and also Wong Choi up in the leading group. Norwick is also prominent. So too is Fitzwarren and Jalmood's up there, and so too is Super Sunrise. So as they settle down at the top of the hill, it is Florida Sun in the lead. Right behind him comes Lobkowitz. Behind Lobkowitz on the inside is Norwick in a good position. Then Fitzwarren. Behind Fitzwarren towards the outside is Wong Choi. Jalmood's well in place touch. So too is Golden Fleece. Towards the rear of the field is Persepolis. And also with Persepolis is Father Rooney and also Tidworth Tattoo right at the tail end of the field. So as they reach the rising ground now and go to the highest point on the course, 7 furlongs out, Florida Sun in the lead in the Derby. Right behind him comes Norwick. On a good position towards the outside is Lobkowitz, is one that's hidden from me. Also up there is Touching Wood. He's in a very good position with Wong Choi. And then Count Palin. Behind Count Palin is Silver Hawk. And then Peacetime. With Peacetime it's Jalmood. And then comes Golden Fleece. And then Palace Gold and Rocamadour and Persepolis. And last of all at this stage is Tidworth Tattoo and Fitzwarren as they begin to come down Tapnam Hill. They have 5 furlongs still to run, and Florida Sun from Norwich. Lobkowitz in 3rd place. The one that's hidden from me on the outside is Reef Glade. And they're beginning to make the turn into Tapnam Corner now. Downhill and into the straight. At Tapnam Corner, and Florida Sun in the lead. Right behind him comes Peacetime, who's made good progress. Behind him comes Norwich. Then Reef Glade dropping back. Super Sunrise coming with a run. Father Rooney's only just behind them. I can't see Golden Fleece. He's coming with a long run on the outside, and Norwick hits the front. From Peacetime in second place. Then comes Touching Wood. These three have drawn clear. Golden Fleece is coming with a steady run on the outside. 2 furlongs out. Norwick it is from Peacetime. Touching Wood. And Golden Fleece comes smoothly through to take up the running. And it's Golden Fleece for Ireland. And with a furlong to go, it's going to be Golden Fleece for Ireland. They have a furlong to run. Touching Wood hanging on in second place. Norwick is third. And then comes Persepolis finishing fast. Golden Fleece is the one now that they've all got to catch. And Golden Fleece is going away. Golden Fleece wins the Derby. In second place, Touching Wood, Silverhawk and Persepolis third and fourth. Norwick came next. Behind Norwick on the inside was Palace Gold and then Peacetime. But Golden Fleece has won like a real good one. A beautifully long, smooth run carried him to the front, and he has won an outstanding Derby. Michael Phillips, nothing to crab about that.
No, absolutely nothing, Peter. Vincent O'Brien told me down in the paddock today he was going to ask Pat Emery to ride a race a la Sir Ivor. And my goodness, he's done that. He's delayed his time, he's bided his time, he's just brought him ever so gently. I was worried, I was a supporter, I actually went for the horse in the Times this morning, and I backed him. I was a bit worried coming down the hill. I thought, my goodness, this has got a lot to do, and he's got to be the superstar that they've cracked him up to be. But Emery has kept him perfectly balanced, and he's just brought him gently, eased him to the outside, eased him upside. There was Norwick and Peacetime went for home early in the straight. But what has won this race is speed, the ability, that sheer blend, that brilliant blend, the classic blend of speed and stamina. This was, one could never say that this is another Nijinsky, but he's by Nijinsky, our Triple Crown winner of 1970. He had a look of Nijinsky about him. He won it in a Nijinsky way. Touching Wood, a maiden, has run a tremendous race. No maiden has won this race since 1887, Mary Hampton. Touching Wood has run a marvellous race, a better race than he ran against Peacetime at Goodwood. Silverhawk, I genuinely believe, has again substantiated our thoughts before the race, run a really good race to finish third. Persepolis, they said, had to be ridden from behind. Not the easiest thing to do here at Epsom, especially by a person who only rides here once in a blue moon. I think Persepolis has come through and finished fourth. But well, there's a photograph for third place between Silverhawk and Persepolis, but I can give you the full result of the first two at any rate. First was number 5, Golden Fleece, owned by Mr. Robert Sangster, trained by Vincent O'Brien, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Paul Hexter in the United States, by Nijinsky, of course, and ridden by Pat Emery. That's his second winning Derby. He won on Grundy in 1975. And second was number 19, Mr. Maktoum, Al Maktoum's Touching Wood, trained by Harry Thompson-Jones, bred by the Pinot Farm in the USA, and ridden by Paul Cook. And the photo between Silverhawk and Persepolis. And Silverhawk is third. We know now Silverhawk, number 15, owned by Mr. Mahmoud Fustoff, trained by Michael Albina at Newmarket and ridden by Tony Murray, has finished third. So that means that the fourth horse must be number 11, Persepolis, owned by Mr. Stavros Niarchos, trained by Francois Boutin, bred by the Alain stud in France, and ridden by Yves Saint-Martin. So this is France in fourth place. But Ireland wins, England second and third, and France in fourth place. So a truly international finish. And Golden Fleece, the 3-to-1 favourite. Touching Wood, 40-to-1 is second. Those are the only two prices we've got. A final word, Michael Phillips. Well, that's the longest price that Golden Fleece has ever started, Peter. You have to take your hat off to Vincent O'Brien. This is his 6th Derby. What a trainer. People say some funny things from time to time, but my goodness, what a trainer. Pat Emery is second, Derby having won on Grundy, and indeed Robert Sangster's second. He won it on the Minstrel. I think a fine performance and a fine Derby winner. So to wrap up the final result, first number 5, Golden Fleece, the 3-to-1 favourite. Second number 19, Touching Wood, 40-to-1. And third number 15, Silverhawk at 14-to-1. The fourth horse was Persepolis, so we leave a crowded, excited Epsom.
Well, it's Jim Maxwell back here. That was Michael Phillips with Peter Bromley for the 203rd English Derby. On the New South Wales tote, just to give you some idea of the prices out here, Golden Fleece, number 5, should pay $2 and $1.10. That's exactly 3-to-1 for a win, as the starting price was. Second was Touching Wood, number 19, started at 40-to-1, but will pay only $1.50 on the tote here. It was well supported. And third was Silverhawk, which started at 14 to 1, and it'll pay $2.40 for a place. So Golden Fleece $2, $1.10, Touchingwood $1.50, Silverhawk $2.40. Another triumph for Vincent O'Brien, his 6th Derby winner, and for Robert Sangster, his 2nd. So that's it for the 203rd English Derby.